What would you do if your husband handed you divorce papers in front of your whole family, right after you laughed off your dare with another man? How did it come to this, where I'm the one being judged, and he's the one everyone is suddenly defending? Can a single act, twisted by whispers and receipts, turn the tables so completely? Before we dive deeper into the story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. The living room buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses as our friends and family celebrated my 32nd birthday. I should have been happy. Jonas had organized everything perfectly, from the catered appetizers to the playlist of my favorite songs. But as I watched him methodically refilling drinks and checking on guests, something inside me felt hollow. "Eirene, you look absolutely stunning tonight," Brady Kemp said, appearing beside me with that charming smile that had caught my attention at work. At 29, he had this effortless confidence that made heads turn. Jonas's coworker was everything my husband wasn't: spontaneous, flirtatious, exciting. "Thank you, Brady. I'm glad you could make it," I replied, feeling a flutter of excitement that had been missing from my marriage for months. Jonas caught my eye from across the room and smiled tiredly. He'd been working overtime on a major system upgrade, coming home exhausted every night. When was the last time he'd looked at me the way Brady was looking at me now? "Let's play truth or dare," my friend Jessica called out, already tipsy from the wine. Several people groaned, but the younger crowd cheered. "Come on, it'll be fun," I said, settling onto the couch. Jonas shook his head from the kitchen doorway. "I think I'll pass. Got an early morning tomorrow," he said quietly. "Oh, don't be such a party pooper," my mother Helen chimed in. "It's your wife's birthday." Jonas's mother Linda shot her a disapproving look. Some of us have responsibilities. The tension between our mothers was nothing new, but tonight it felt sharper. I ignored it, focusing on the game as the bottle spun and landed on me. "Truth or dare, birthday girl?" Jessica asked with a mischievous grin. "Dare," I said without hesitation, craving something, anything, to break the monotony of my predictable life. Jessica whispered something to Brady, and they both laughed. "I dare you to let Brady give you a shoulder massage for 2 minutes." The room fell silent. I could feel Jonas's eyes on me from the kitchen, but I was already standing up, my heart racing with rebellious excitement. "It's just a silly dare," I said, sitting on the floor in front of the couch where Brady had positioned himself. His hands were warm as they settled on my shoulders, working the muscles with practiced ease. I closed my eyes, letting out an exaggerated sigh of pleasure that made everyone laugh. Everyone except Jonas and his family. That feels amazing," I murmured, leaning back slightly against Brady's legs. His hands moved lower, fingers grazing the edge of my dress's neckline. "Time," Jonas's voice cut through the room like ice. I opened my eyes to find him standing in the doorway, his face pale and jaw clenched. "It was just a dare, honey," I said with a laugh, but something in his expression made my stomach twist. "Of course it was," Linda said sharply, gathering her purse. "We should go, Jonas. Thank you for the lovely party, Eirene." "Mom, you don't have to leave," Jonas said quietly, but she was already heading for the door. "Actually, I think we do," she replied, not looking back. My sister Rebecca rolled her eyes. "God, some people are so uptight. It was harmless fun." But as I watched Jonas help his mother with her coat, I noticed his hands shaking slightly. The party continued around us, but something had shifted. When I tried to catch his eye later, he looked right through me. By midnight, the last guest had gone home. Jonas was in our bedroom, already in his pajamas, when I finally made it upstairs. "You're being ridiculous," I said, starting to remove my jewelry. "It was just a stupid dare." He didn't respond, just pulled a pillow from his side of the bed. "Where are you going?" "Couch," he said simply. "Jonas, come on. You're seriously going to sleep on the couch because of a 2-minute shoulder massage?" He stopped at the bedroom door and turned to look at me. "Is that really what you think happened down there?" That's exactly what happened. Everyone saw it. Ask anyone. He stared at me for a long moment, and I saw something die in his eyes. Good night, Eirene. I lay awake for hours, listening for his footsteps on the stairs. They never came. The next morning, Jonas was gone before I woke up. No coffee made, no note, nothing. I found him in the office break room during lunch, sitting alone with his sandwich. Can we talk? I asked, sliding into the chair across from him. He looked up from his phone. About what? Don't be like this. You know I love you. Do I? His voice was flat, emotionless. Jonas, it was a dare, a stupid, harmless dare. I'm sorry if it made you uncomfortable, but you're blowing this way out of proportion. He took a bite of his sandwich, chewing slowly. Brady seemed to enjoy it. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Forget I said anything. But I could see other coworkers glancing our way, whispering behind their hands. Brady himself had been avoiding me all morning, which was unusual. Normally, he'd stop by my desk to chat about weekend plans or share some office gossip. People are staring, I said. Let them. This is affecting our professional reputation, Jonas. We work together. We can't have people thinking we have marital problems. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. We don't have marital problems. Not until you created them by overreacting to a party game. Jonas packed up his lunch and stood. I need to get back to work. That evening, I called Rebecca while Jonas worked late in his home office. He's being completely unreasonable, I told her. You were there. You saw what happened. It was nothing. I know, honey. Some men are just insecure like that. Remember how Dad used to get jealous when Mum talked to the mailman? Exactly. Jonas has always been possessive. He doesn't like when other men pay attention to me. Maybe he needs some time to cool off. Men and their egos, you know. But when Jonas finally came to bed that night, he stayed on his side, facing away from me. When I tried to cuddle against him, his body went rigid. I'm tired, he said. We can't keep going like this. Then maybe we shouldn't. The words hit me like a slap. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm tired, Eirene. Go to sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling, anger building in my chest. I'd apologized. I'd explained. What more did he want from me? It wasn't like I'd actually cheated on him. It was a dare at a party with witnesses. If he couldn't handle his wife having a little innocent fun, maybe the problem was him, not me. The next morning, I found a text from him on my phone. We need to talk. My hands trembled as I typed back. About what? I already explained everything. Tonight, after Mila goes to bed. Our 7-year-old daughter, I'd almost forgotten she'd been at her friend's sleepover during the party. She'd be coming home today, back to whatever this mess had become. At work, I noticed more stares, more whispered conversations that stopped when I walked by. Brady continued to avoid me, which only made things worse. If he'd just act normal, people would forget about the whole thing. Brady, I called out as he passed my desk. Can I talk to you for a second? He glanced around nervously. I'm kind of busy. It'll just take a minute. Reluctantly, he followed me to an empty conference room. Look, I think we should clear the air about Saturday night, I began. There's nothing to clear. It was just a party game. Exactly. But Jonas is making a big deal about it, and now everyone's acting weird. Brady shifted uncomfortably. Maybe we should just keep our distance for a while. You know, until things blow over. That's just going to make it look like something actually happened. Didn't it? He looked at me strangely. What do you mean? I mean, you were pretty into it. The massage thing. Heat flushed my cheeks. It was a dare. Right, a dare. He opened the conference room door. I really do have to get back to work. That afternoon, I picked up Mila from school, trying to act normal as she chatted about her sleepover. Where's Daddy? She asked when we got home. He's working late again. He's always working late now. Kids notice everything. I made her favorite dinner and helped with homework, but my mind kept drifting to Jonas's text. What exactly did he want to talk about? And why did it feel like the ground was shifting beneath my feet? When he finally came home at 8:30, Mila was already in bed. He found me in the kitchen, loading the dishwasher. "We need to talk," he said again. "So talk." He sat at the kitchen table, and I noticed how tired he looked. "I've been thinking about Saturday night." "Jonas, please, can we just move past this?" "I don't think we can." Something in his tone made me turn around. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I saw what I saw, and I can't unsee it." "You saw a party game, a dare." "I saw my wife letting another man touch her in ways that made her moan with pleasure, in front of our friends and family." "It wasn't sexual, wasn't it?" He pulled out his phone and showed me a photo. Someone had taken a picture during the massage, catching the moment when I'd leaned back against Brady's legs, his hands on my chest, my eyes closed and mouth open in what definitely looked like pleasure. My stomach dropped. "Who took this?" "Does it matter?" "Delete it." "It's not my phone." "Then tell whoever it is to delete it." "I can't control what other people do with their phones, Eirene. Just like I apparently can't control what my wife does with other men." The accusation hung between us like a blade. "I want to see a marriage counselor," I said finally. Jonas was quiet for a long time. "I don't think that's going to help." "Why not?" "Because you still don't think you did anything wrong." Sunday brunch at the local bistro had been a family tradition for years, but this week felt different. Jonas sat silently beside me, barely touching his eggs Benedict, while Mila colored on her kids' menu. My mother Helen had driven over from her apartment, and Jonas's family, Linda, his older brother Tom, and Tom's wife Sarah, filled out our usual table. "You look tired, dear," Helen said to Jonas, though her tone lacked genuine concern. "He's been working a lot," I answered for him. Linda's disapproval was palpable. "Maybe if he didn't have so much stress at home, he could sleep better." "What's that supposed to mean?" I asked, though I already knew. "I think you know exactly what it means." Tom cleared his throat. "Mum, maybe we shouldn't—" "No, I think we should," Linda continued, her voice rising slightly. "I've been married for 37 years, and I've never seen anything as disrespectful as what happened at that party." Heat flushed my cheeks. "It was a game, Linda, a harmless party game." "Harmless?" She laughed bitterly. "You let another man put his hands all over you while your husband watched, in front of your daughter's grandparents. Mila wasn't even there." "Thank God for that." Helen leaned forward. "Now wait just a minute. My daughter did nothing wrong. If Jonas can't handle his wife having a little innocent fun—" "Innocent?" Linda's voice cracked like a whip. "Is that what you call it when a married woman moans in pleasure while another man touches her?" "Mom," Jonas said quietly, but she wasn't finished. "I raised my son to respect women, to be a good husband and father. He works 60 hours a week to provide for his family. He organized that entire party for you, Eirene, and this is how you repay him?" Tears stung my eyes. "You don't understand. Jonas never lets me have fun. He's always working, always tired. When was the last time he looked at me the way—" I stopped myself. "The way what?" Tom asked gently. "Nothing." But Jonas was staring at me now, and I saw understanding dawn in his eyes. "The way Brady looks at you." The table fell silent except for Mila's crayon scratching against paper. "That's not what I meant," I said quickly. "Isn't it?" I could feel everyone watching us, waiting. "You're twisting my words." "Am I?" Jonas's voice was eerily calm. "Because it sounds like you're saying I don't pay enough attention to you, that I'm a bad husband because I work hard to support our family." "I never said that. You just did." Helen reached over and patted my hand. "Honey, you don't have to defend yourself. Marriage is hard work, and sometimes people grow apart." "We haven't grown apart," I said, but even as the words left my mouth, they felt hollow. "Haven't you?" Linda asked. "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've been growing towards someone else." "That's ridiculous." "Is it? Because I've heard some interesting things about you and that Brady fellow at work." My blood ran cold. What things? Jonas was studying his coffee cup like it held the secrets of the universe. Oh, just that you two have been spending a lot of time together lately. Coffee breaks, lunch meetings, staying late to collaborate on projects. We work together. Of course we collaborate. The way you collaborated at the party. Linda's smile was razor sharp. I stood up abruptly, my chair scraping against the floor. I don't have to listen to this. Sit down, Jonas said quietly. No, I'm not going to sit here and be attacked by your mother. She's not attacking you. She's defending me. Someone should. The words hit like a physical blow. I looked around the table, at Linda's satisfied expression, Tom's disappointment, Helen's confused anger, and Jonas's cold indifference. Come on, Mila, I said. We're leaving. But I'm not done coloring, she protested. Now. Jonas caught my wrist gently but firmly. She can finish. I'll bring her home later. She's my daughter too. Then act like her mother. Don't drag her into this. I jerked my hand away and stalked out of the restaurant, leaving my family behind. In the parking lot, I sat in my car and called Rebecca. They're all ganging up on me, I sobbed into the phone. Even Jonas. He's supposed to be on my side. What happened? I told her about the brunch, about Linda's accusations and Jonas's coldness. That's awful, Rebecca said, but I detected a note of uncertainty in her voice. You believe me, right? That it was just a dare? A pause. Of course I do. But something in her tone made me wonder if she really did. When Jonas brought Mila home 3 hours later, I was waiting in the living room. We need to talk, I said. Daddy, can we watch a movie? Mila asked. Sure, sweetheart. Pick something out. I'll be right there. He followed me into the kitchen, and I noticed he was carrying a small overnight bag. What's that for? I'm staying at Tom's for a few days. You're leaving me? I'm taking some time to think. About what? About whether I want to stay married to someone who thinks so little of me. Jonas, please, I love you. Do you? He set the bag on the counter. Because love doesn't humiliate the person it claims to care about. Love doesn't make excuses for hurting someone. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did, and you're not sorry about it. You're sorry I'm upset, but you're not sorry about what you did. He was right, and we both knew it. Part of me did think he was overreacting. Part of me did think he was being controlling and jealous. What do you want from me? I asked. I want you to understand why what you did was wrong. Not because I'm telling you it was wrong, but because you actually understand it. And if I don't, he picked up his bag, then I guess we'll find out what happens next. After he left, I sat on the couch with Mila, watching Frozen for the 100th time. But my mind was elsewhere, replaying the conversation, the brunch, the party. Had I really done something so terrible? Or was Jonas just too insecure to handle having an attractive wife? My phone buzzed with a text from Brady. Heard about the drama at brunch. You okay? I stared at the message, my heart racing. How did he know about brunch? Who was talking? I typed back, how did you hear about that? Office gossip travels fast. People are saying Jonas moved out. He's just staying at his brother's for a few days. Want to talk about it? I'm a good listener. I almost said yes, almost, but something held me back. Thanks, but I'm fine. If you change your mind, you know where to find me. I deleted the conversation and turned off my phone, but the damage was already done. If Brady knew about our problems, everyone at work would know by tomorrow. And somehow, I had the feeling that was exactly what Jonas was counting on. Monday morning at the office felt like walking into a minefield. Conversation stopped when I passed by, and I caught several coworkers quickly looking away from their computer screens. By 10 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. Is there something you want to say to me? I asked Jennifer from accounting, who'd been staring at me for the past 5 minutes. Oh no, I heard Jonas moved out. I'm sorry. He didn't move out. He's staying at his brother's for a few days. Right, of course. but her expression said she didn't believe me. At lunch, I found myself sitting alone in the cafeteria until Brady finally approached with his tray. "Mind if I sit?" he asked. "Actually, yes. People are already talking." He sat anyway. "Let them talk. You can't control what people think." "Easy for you to say. You're not the one they're calling a cheating wife. Are they calling you that?" I looked around the cafeteria and noticed several tables of coworkers glancing our way. "What do you think?" Brady leaned forward. "For what it's worth, I don't think you did anything wrong. Jonas is being ridiculous." "You don't?" "It was a party game. He's acting like you had an affair." The validation felt good, even though I knew I shouldn't be seeking it from him. That's what I keep trying to tell everyone. Maybe he's looking for an excuse to leave. Some guys do that. They get bored with marriage and start picking fights to justify walking away. The possibility had occurred to me, but hearing it from Brady made it seem more real. "You think?" "I've seen it before. My brother did the same thing to his ex-wife, started accusing her of cheating, making her feel crazy, until she finally gave up trying to defend herself. But I wasn't cheating. I know that, you know that, but Jonas has already made up his mind, hasn't he?" That afternoon, I got a call from Mila's school. Mrs. Patterson, her second-grade teacher, wanted to schedule a conference. "Is everything all right at home?" she asked when I arrived. "Mila seems distracted lately, and she mentioned that Daddy isn't living with you anymore." "It's temporary," I said quickly. "Just a small disagreement." "I see. Well, children are very perceptive. They pick up on tension even when we think we're hiding it well. She's fine, we're all fine." But Mrs. Patterson's concerned expression suggested otherwise. That evening, I called Helen while Mila did homework. "I think Jonas is having some kind of breakdown," I told her. "He's turning everyone against me over nothing." "Men can be so dramatic," she agreed. "Your father was the same way. Everything was the end of the world with him." "What should I do?" "Stand your ground. Don't let him make you feel guilty for having a little fun. You're young, you're beautiful, you deserve to feel appreciated." But even as she said it, I could hear doubt creeping into her voice. Tuesday brought worse news. I was called into HR for what they termed a wellness check. "We've had some reports of workplace tension," the HR director, Ms. Chen, explained. "Nothing formal, just concerns about the work environment." "What kind of concerns?" "Employees feeling uncomfortable about personal drama affecting the professional atmosphere." "I haven't done anything wrong." "I'm not saying you have, but when personal relationships between coworkers become public knowledge, it can create problems for everyone." "Personal relationships?" Ms. Chen consulted her notes. "You and Mr. Kemp from IT." My stomach dropped. "There's no relationship, we're just friends." "I understand, but perception can be as damaging as reality in a workplace setting." "What are you suggesting?" "That you and Mr. Kemp limit your interactions to necessary work-related communications, at least until the situation with your husband resolves itself." I left HR feeling humiliated and angry. This was exactly what Jonas wanted, to make me look bad, to isolate me from my friends and colleagues. That night, Rebecca came over with Chinese takeout and wine. "How are you holding up?" she asked as we settled on the couch. "Everyone's treating me like I'm some kind of home wrecker. Even HR called me in today." "That's ridiculous." "Is it, though?" I poured myself a generous glass of wine. "Maybe I should have seen this coming." "What do you mean?" "Jonas has always been jealous. Remember our wedding reception? He got upset because I danced with your husband for one song." "That was different." "Was it?" Rebecca was quiet for a moment. "Eirene, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Do you have feelings for Brady?" The question caught me off guard. "What?" "No. We're just friends." "Because if you do, that's okay. Marriage is complicated, and sometimes—" "I don't have feelings for him," I said firmly. But even as I said it, I wondered if it was true. Wednesday brought a new crisis. Jonas picked up Mila from school, and when he brought her home, She ran straight to her room without saying hello. "What's wrong with her?" I asked. "She's confused. Kids at school are saying things." "What kind of things?" "That mommy and daddy are getting divorced because mommy has a boyfriend." The words hit me like a slap. "That's not true, isn't it?" "You know it isn't." Jonas sat down across from me, and for the first time in days, he looked more sad than angry. "Do I know that, Eirene? Because I'm starting to wonder if I know you at all." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I've been thinking about things, about us, about how we got here. We got here because you're making a mountain out of a molehill." "Did we?" He pulled out his phone and showed me a screenshot. "Brady sent you this text yesterday. Thinking about you, hope you're okay." My heart stopped. "How did you get that?" "Mila was playing games on your phone. She saw the message and asked me what it meant." "It's just a friendly text." "Is it? Because he's been texting you every day since I moved out." "We're friends." "Friends don't text married women every day when their husbands aren't around." I felt trapped, cornered. "You're reading too much into it." "Am I? Or are you not reading enough into it?" That night, after Jonas left and Mila was asleep, I found myself staring at my phone. Brady had sent another message. "Miss talking to you. This situation is crazy." For the first time, I really looked at our text history. The messages that had seemed innocent individually looked different when viewed together. The frequency, the tone, the way he always seemed to be checking on me when Jonas wasn't around. Maybe everyone else could see something I'd been refusing to acknowledge. Maybe the problem wasn't that Jonas was overreacting. Maybe the problem was that he was reacting exactly the right amount. Thursday morning, I woke up to find an official-looking envelope slipped under my door. My hand shook as I opened it. Notice of legal consultation was printed across the top in bold letters. Jonas had scheduled a meeting with a divorce attorney for the following Monday, and I was invited to attend with legal representation if desired. The reality of the situation hit me like a freight train. This wasn't just a fight that would blow over. Jonas was serious about ending our marriage. I called in sick to work and spent the day researching divorce lawyers, my stomach churning as I read about custody battles and asset division. By afternoon, I'd made an appointment with Sarah Martinez, a family law attorney who specialized in protecting women's rights in divorce proceedings. Friday brought another bombshell. I was cleaning out my purse when I found a USB drive I didn't recognize. Curious, I plugged it into my laptop. The screen filled with files, photos, videos, text message screenshots, even what looked like security camera footage from our house. My heart pounded as I clicked through them. There was the photo from the party that Jonas had shown me, but now I could see it was part of a series. In the first few shots, I looked uncomfortable as Brady's hand settled on my shoulders. But as the sequence progressed, my body language changed. I was leaning into his touch, my face flushed, my lips parted. In the final photo, his hands were clearly on my chest, and I was looking up at him with an expression that could only be described as intimate. The text message screenshots were even worse. Conversations with Brady going back months, not days. Messages I'd forgotten about or dismissed as harmless flirtation now looked damning when compiled together. Working late again. Wish I had someone to keep me company. I'd volunteer for that job any time. Brady, you're sweet. Jonas is at another work conference this weekend. His loss is my gain. Coffee tomorrow. Always. There were dozens of them. Hundreds. How had I not seen what this looked like? The security footage was the worst part. Our home system had captured everything from the party, including moments I'd forgotten. Brady arriving early and helping me set up decorations, while Jonas was still at work. His hand on my lower back, as he reached around me to hang streamers. The way I'd laughed at his jokes, touched his arm, stood closer to him than necessary. And then the massage itself, from multiple angles. Watching it back, I could see what everyone else had seen, what Jonas had seen. This wasn't an innocent party game. This was a woman enjoying another man's touch, while her husband watched helplessly. The final file was a document titled Timeline of Affair. Jonas had meticulously documented every interaction between Brady and me over the past 6 months. Coffee dates, lunch meetings, text messages, even times when Brady had stopped by my desk for what I'd thought were casual conversations. Laid out like this, it looked like exactly what it was, an emotional affair that had been building towards something more. My phone rang. Rebecca. "Hey, how are you holding up?" she asked. "I think I'm in trouble." "What do you mean?" I told her about the USB drive, the lawyer's letter, the evidence Jonas had compiled. "Jesus, Eirene, how long has this been going on?" "It's not what it looks like." "What does it look like?" I was quiet for a long moment. Like I was having an affair. "Were you?" I don't know." The admission hung between us like a confession. "Oh, honey, I never slept with him. I never even kissed him. But you wanted to." "Did I?" Looking at the photos, reading the texts, watching the security footage, it was hard to deny that some part of me had been moving toward Brady, even if I hadn't consciously acknowledged it. "Maybe," I whispered. "Then Jonas is right to be upset." "But I didn't actually do anything." "Didn't you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you did everything except the physical act." That weekend, Jonas came to pick up Mila for their father-daughter day. He was polite but distant, treating me like a stranger. "We need to talk about Monday," he said as Mila gathered her things. "I hired a lawyer." "Good, you'll need one." "Jonas, please, can't we work this out? Go to counseling or something." He looked at me for a long moment, and I saw something that looked almost like pity in his eyes. "Do you love him?" "Who?" "Brady." The question caught me off guard. No, I don't know. It's complicated." "It's not complicated, Eirene. Either you love your husband or you love someone else. You can't love both." "I love you." "Do you? Because love doesn't do what you did. Love doesn't humiliate the person it claims to care about. Love doesn't build secret relationships with other men." "It wasn't secret. We worked together." "Was it public? Did you tell me about your coffee dates, your lunch meetings, your text conversations?" I couldn't answer because we both knew the truth. "I thought so," he said quietly. Monday morning arrived too quickly. I sat in Sarah Martinez's office, watching her review the evidence Jonas had compiled. "This is comprehensive," she said finally. "Is it bad?" "It's not good. Emotional infidelity isn't grounds for divorce in this state, but it certainly affects things like custody and asset division." "What does that mean?" "It means your husband has documented a pattern of behavior that suggests you prioritized another relationship over your marriage and family. A judge might see that as evidence that you're not fit for primary custody." The words hit me like a physical blow. "He can't take Mila away from me. He probably won't try for full custody, but he'll likely get primary physical custody, with you having visitation rights." "This is insane. I made some mistakes, but I'm still her mother." "Of course you are. But the court's primary concern is the child's best interests, and a parent who engages in behavior that destabilizes the family unit." She didn't need to finish the sentence. At 2:00, we met Jonas and his attorney in a conference room downtown. Jonas looked tired but determined, while his lawyer, a sharp-eyed woman named Patricia Wong, had the kind of smile that suggested she ate opposing counsel for breakfast. "Let's get straight to the point," Patricia said, opening a thick folder. "My client is seeking dissolution of marriage based on irreconcilable differences, with primary physical custody of the minor child." "That's ridiculous," Sarah replied. "My client made some poor choices, but that doesn't make her an unfit mother. Doesn't it?" Patricia slid a photograph across the table. It was from the party, showing me in Brady's arms, but this one was taken from Mila's eye level, what our daughter would have seen if she'd been there. This is what my client's 7-year-old daughter would have witnessed if she'd been present during this party game. My stomach churned. Furthermore, Patricia continued, we have evidence of ongoing inappropriate contact with a coworker, including secret meetings and communications that were deliberately hidden from my client. She spread out printed text messages, photos, even credit card statements showing lunches and coffee purchases that corresponded with times I'd told Jonas I was working. My client has been nothing but patient and understanding. He organized his wife's birthday party. He worked overtime to provide for his family. He even tried to ignore the obvious signs of his wife's emotional affair. But when that affair was literally performed in front of friends and family, he realized he could no longer enable this behavior. It wasn't an affair, I said, my voice cracking. Patricia looked at me with something that might have been sympathy. Mrs. Voss, you exchanged over 300 text messages with another man in the past month alone. You met him for coffee or lunch 17 times without your husband's knowledge. You allowed him to touch you intimately in front of witnesses. What would you call it? I looked at Jonas, searching for some sign of the man who'd once loved me. Jonas, please. I'm sorry. I know I made mistakes, but... You're sorry you got caught, he said quietly. You're not sorry about what you did. That's not true. Isn't it? Because if you were really sorry, you would have stopped texting him. You would have cut off contact. You would have fought for our marriage instead of making excuses for your behavior. He was right, and everyone in the room knew it. Patricia slid another document across the table. Divorce petition. My client is being more than generous with the property division, considering the circumstances. I scanned the papers with growing horror. Jonas would keep the house, get primary custody of Mila, and I would be responsible for my own debts and legal fees. This is punishment, I said. This is consequences, Jonas replied. The next few weeks passed in a blur of legal meetings, paperwork, and increasingly desperate attempts to salvage what was left of my life. Jonas had moved back into our house, but I was the one who'd been asked to leave. I was staying in a studio apartment across town, seeing Mila only on weekends and Wednesday evenings. The divorce proceedings moved faster than I'd expected. Jonas had done his homework, and his evidence was overwhelming. My lawyer tried to argue that emotional infidelity wasn't the same as physical adultery, but the judge seemed unimpressed. Mrs. Voss, Judge Harrison said during our final hearing, while I understand that you never engaged in physical relations with Mr. Kemp, the evidence suggests a pattern of deception and emotional betrayal that undermines the foundation of marriage. I sat in the defendant's chair, feeling like a criminal. Your husband has presented compelling evidence that you prioritized another relationship over your family's well-being. The court finds that primary custody should remain with Mr. Voss, with supervised visitation for you until such time as you can demonstrate stability and commitment to your daughter's best interests. Supervised visitation. The words echoed in my mind as I signed paper after paper, officially ending my 8-year marriage. Outside the courthouse, Jonas waited by his car. I hope you're happy, I said, my voice bitter. I'm not happy, Eirene. I'm devastated, but I'm also free. Free to do what? Raise our daughter to hate me? Free to find someone who actually wants to be with me. Someone who won't humiliate me in front of my family and friends. It was one mistake. It was months of mistakes, months of lies and secret meetings and emotional cheating. One mistake I could forgive, a pattern of betrayal. That's who you are. He got in his car and drove away, leaving me standing alone on the courthouse steps. The final blow came 2 weeks later. I'd been hoping to reconcile with some of our mutual friends, maybe rebuild some of the social connections I'd lost during the divorce. I decided to attend Jessica's housewarming party, thinking it would be a chance to show everyone that I was moving on with dignity. I was wrong. The moment I walked in, conversation stopped. People who'd been my friends for years suddenly found reasons to be somewhere else. I found Jessica in the kitchen, arranging appetizers. "Thanks for inviting me," I said. "Actually, Eirene, I didn't invite you." The words hit like a slap. "What?" "I mean, you're welcome to stay, but things are awkward, you know, after everything that happened." "Everything that happened? You mean my divorce?" "I mean what you did to Jonas, what you did at your own birthday party." I looked around the kitchen at faces I'd known for years, friends who'd celebrated holidays with us, who'd been in our wedding, who'd watched Mila grow up. "You all think I'm some kind of monster." "We think you made really bad choices," Jessica said quietly. "And we think Jonas deserved better." "Where is he tonight?" "He's here, with his new girlfriend." The words hit me like a physical blow. "His what?" "Her name is Amanda. She's a teacher at Mila's school. Really sweet. Mila adores her." I felt the room spinning around me. "How long?" "They've been dating for about a month. But don't worry. It started after your divorce was final. Jonas isn't like you." The implication was clear. Jonas was honorable. Jonas was faithful. Jonas was the victim in our story. And I was the villain. I pushed past Jessica and found Jonas in the living room, his arm around a pretty blonde woman I recognized from school events. Mila was there too, sitting on Amanda's lap, laughing at something she'd said. "Mommy!" Mila ran over to hug me, but I could see the confusion in her eyes. This wasn't my night with her. "Hi, sweetheart. I just stopped by to say hello." Jonas looked up and I saw something in his expression I'd never seen before. Complete indifference. Not anger, not hurt, not even disappointment. Nothing. "Eirene," he said politely, "I didn't know you were coming." "Jessica invited me." The lie came automatically. "Well, it's good to see you. Amanda, this is my ex-wife Eirene. Eirene, this is Amanda." Amanda smiled warmly, extending her hand. "It's nice to finally meet you. Mila talks about you all the time." She was kind, genuine, everything I should have been but wasn't. "Daddy, can Amanda come to my school play next week?" Mila asked. "If she wants to," Jonas replied, looking at Amanda with the kind of affection he used to reserve for me. "I'd love to," Amanda said, squeezing Mila's hand. I watched this scene, my ex-husband, my daughter, and his new girlfriend, and realized that I'd been completely replaced. Not just in Jonas's life, but in Mila's too. "I should go," I said. "You don't have to leave on our account," Jonas said, but his tone suggested otherwise. "No, I have things to do." I kissed Mila goodbye and walked out of the party, feeling the weight of dozens of eyes on my back. In my car, I sat in the parking lot and cried until I couldn't breathe. 6 months later, I got the final piece of news that completed my downfall. Brady, the man who'd supposedly cared about me so much, had been promoted to a position in another city. He was moving away without so much as a goodbye. When I called him to ask why he hadn't told me, his response was devastating in its honesty. "Look, Eirene, what happened between us was fun, but it was never serious. You were married, you had a kid, you had baggage. I was just having a good time." "A good time?" "Yeah, I mean, you were obviously unhappy in your marriage, and you were looking for attention. I gave you attention, but I never promised you anything more than that. I destroyed my marriage for you. No, you destroyed your marriage for yourself. You wanted excitement, you wanted to feel desired, you wanted something your husband couldn't give you. I just happened to be available." The line went dead, and I realized that Brady had never been the answer to my problems. He'd just been a symptom of them. A year after the divorce, I ran into Linda at the grocery store. Jonas's mother looked older, tired, but when she saw me, her expression hardened. "Hello, Eirene." "Linda, how are you?" "I'm well. Jonas and Amanda are getting married next month." The news shouldn't have surprised me, but it still felt like a punch to the gut. That's good. I'm happy for him." "Are you?" "Of course. I want him to be happy." Linda studied my face for a long moment. "Do you know what the saddest part of this whole situation is?" What? Jonas really loved you. Even after everything you did, even during the divorce, he still loved you. But you killed that love with your selfishness and your lies. Linda, You had a good man who adored you, a beautiful daughter who needed you, and a life that most women would envy. And you threw it all away for what? A few moments of excitement with a man who didn't even care about you. I couldn't answer because there was no good answer. I hope it was worth it, she said, and walked away. Standing alone in the cereal aisle, I finally understood the full scope of what I'd lost. Not just my marriage, not just my friends, not just my reputation. I'd lost myself. The woman I used to be, the mother, the wife, the person people respected and trusted, was gone, and the woman I'd become in her place was someone I didn't even recognize. 2 years after the divorce, I received a wedding invitation in the mail. Jonas and Amanda were having a small ceremony, and they wanted Mila to be the flower girl. They were inviting me to attend. I stared at the invitation for hours, reading and rereading the elegant script. They were being kind, including me in this moment for Mila's sake, but we all knew the truth. I was no longer part of this family. I was a guest in the life I'd once called my own. The wedding was beautiful. Amanda looked radiant in her simple white dress, and Jonas looked happier than I'd seen him in years. Mila walked down the aisle, scattering rose petals, beaming with joy at being part of her father's new beginning. I sat in the back row, watching the man I'd once loved promise to honor and cherish another woman. When they kissed, the congregation erupted in applause, and I saw our old friends, my former friends, wiping away tears of joy. At the reception, I watched Jonas dance with his new wife, then with Mila, then with his mother. I watched Amanda laugh with my former friends, fitting seamlessly into the social circle I'd been exiled from, and I realized that this was my punishment. Not the divorce, not the custody arrangement, not even the loneliness. My punishment was watching Jonas build the life he'd always deserved, the life I could have given him if I'd been a better person. As I prepared to leave, Jonas approached me. "Thank you for coming," he said. "It means a lot to Mila." "She looks happy." "She is. We all are." "I'm glad." He studied my face for a moment. "Are you okay, Eirene? Really okay?" It was the first time in 2 years that he'd asked about my well-being, and the kindness in his voice nearly broke me. "I'm learning to be," I said. He nodded. "Good. You deserve to be happy too. Just not at other people's expense." As I drove home to my empty apartment, I thought about his words. I did deserve to be happy. But happiness built on lies and betrayal wasn't real happiness. It was just delayed consequences. I'd learned that lesson too late to save my marriage, but maybe it wasn't too late to save myself. The real tragedy wasn't that I'd lost Jonas. The real tragedy was that I'd lost myself in the process of losing him, but maybe, someday, I could find her again.